Do you ever find yourself watching a tennis match with the sound off? If so, you're not alone. Many fans are tuning out the commentators, frustrated by what they feel is constant, biased negativity, especially towards young, black, female athletes. A perfect example? Coco Gauff. She's ranked number 3 in the world, she's a Grand Slam champion, and yet she faces a level of doubt from the media that's just baffling. We were talking about predictions that she'll lose to players ranked outside the top 300. It feels like a relentless campaign to diminish her achievements. But is it really that simple? Some argue that, as a top American player, Gauff actually gets a lot of hype and favorable coverage from US media. It's a complicated picture, so let S break down what's really going on with the narrative around one of tennis's biggest stars. Let's look at Coco's 2024 season. She reached the semi-finals of the Australian Open, was a finalist at the French Open, won titles in Auckland and China, and ended the year as the world number 3. Sounds incredible, right? Well, not according to some in the tennis media. They called it a slump, a disappointment. Steve Tignor, an executive editor at Tennis Magazine, described her victories as scrappy and lucky, suggesting she lacked beauty in her game and mental strength. Instead of celebrating her resilience, the narrative questioned it. Now, to be fair, top athletes are always under a microscope. High expectations come with the territory. The question is, are the expectations for Coco different? Is the criticism she receives fair, or is something else at play? The scrutiny reached a fever pitch during the US Open after a loss to Emma Navarro, where she had a tough serving day. Suddenly, that one match seemed to overshadow her entire, incredibly successful season. Commentators and analysts honed in on her serve, her mental game. Tennis great Andy Roddick even pointed it out, saying there's a clear double standard. When Coco wins, it's often framed as lucky or just what was expected. But when she loses, it's treated as a defining failure, a crack in her armor. Meanwhile, other players, especially young male stars like Carlos Alcaraz, are often given more patience and encouragement when they go through similar struggles. It's a narrative of building them up, while for Coco, it sometimes feels like they're just waiting to tear her down. Ironically, on social media, you'll also find fans accusing broadcasters of favoring Gauff, especially when she plays non-American opponents. This shows just how polarized the conversation is. This isn't just about tennis, it's about the intersection of race and gender in sports. Young black female athletes like Coco are held to a different, often impossible standard. When they use their voice for social or political issues, they're told to shut up and play. A criticism rarely leveled with the same intensity at male athletes, who are often praised for their activism. The speed and volume of negative coverage Coco gets after a loss is just on another level compared to her peers. The toll is real. Coco herself revealed she spends about 30 minutes every single day blocking hateful comments on social media. The abuse isn't just about her game, it targets her appearance, her family, her character. Tennis player Caroline Garcia has spoken about this too, describing the relentless online abuse as completely exhausting. These young women are growing up under a societal microscope where every mistake is magnified and every success is minimized. And Coco is outspoken. She's used her platform to criticize Florida politics and has spoken at protests. The backlash has been intense. Conservative media personalities have mocked her, reinforcing the tired idea that black athletes, especially women, are here to entertain, not to have a voice. It's the same playbook used against Serena Williams for years, who was often labeled difficult or aggressive for simply speaking her mind. The contrast is stark. When male athletes engage in activism, they're often celebrated as leaders. When black female athletes do it, they're stepping out of line. While some argue that any athlete who gets political faces backlash, it's impossible to ignore the specific, vitriolic nature of the attacks directed at black women. This pattern of minimizing her achievements is everywhere. In 2024, Coco was voted by her fellow athletes to be the flag bearer for Team USA at the Paris Olympics. This made her the youngest American tennis player ever to receive this honor. An incredible, historic moment, right? But the public reaction was filled with questions about her merit. People on social media, immediately started comparing her unfavorably to other athletes, like Simone Biles, completely disrespecting the fact that her own peers chose her. It is a cycle. Even when her accomplishments are recognized by those who know the sport best, a segment of the public and media rushes to question and diminish them. Let's go back to that US Open loss to Emma Navarro. The commentary from tennis legend Chris Evert during the match drew a lot of criticism from fans. They pointed out how the narrative seemed laser-focused on Coco's mistakes and struggles, rather than giving credit to Navarro for playing an incredible match. It framed the story as the established black star failing, not the rising white player succeeding. This is a classic example of how broadcasting can shape perception. Losses by black female athletes are often portrayed as personal failures of character or nerve, while their male counterparts get more nuanced analysis that might credit the opponent or other factors. We even saw this conversation continue into 2025 during Coco Gauff's matches against Naomi Osaka and Aryna Sabalenka, with Evert again facing backlash for what viewers felt was biased commentary. The debate about fairness in the booth is clearly far from over. So, after months of negative narratives and questions about her stability, what did Coco do? She made a coaching change, bringing in Matt Daly. Then, she let her racket do the talking. She went on to win the China Open with ease. She reached the semi-finals in Wuhan, and then came the big one. She won the WTA Finals, the championship for the top 8 players in the world. And how did she do it? By beating the world number 1 and the world number 2, back to back. It was an undeniable statement of her elite status. After her victory, she said, "When I win, that's going to be my clapback." And just like that, the media criticism vanished. Her overwhelming success silenced them, at least for a while. It shows that for an athlete like Coco, winning isn't just about the trophy. It's a temporary shield from unfair scrutiny. By the age of 21, Coco Gauff is a Grand Slam champion, a WTA Finals winner, an Olympic flag bearer, and a fixture in the top 3 rankings. Yet, she constantly has to prove herself against a tide of criticism. Coco has a mature perspective on it, saying that high expectations are a form of respect. She tries to block out the noise with what she calls a childlike mentality, focusing purely on the game. That focus is her superpower, but the real issue isn't on her to solve. It is the systemic bias that forces young black female athletes to work twice as hard for half the recognition. They face harsher criticism for their losses, get muted praise for their victories, and are attacked for having a voice. Coco's response is simple and powerful. Keep winning. She's not waiting for the media or the public to treat her fairly. She's just going to keep being excellent, on her own terms. Thanks for watching.